It was a crazy weekend for Yu-Gi-Oh! With Beetroopers actually taking top 4 in the remote duel Extravaganza over the weekend, an Extravaganza that was won by Tri-Brigade, so there's been some market fallout for that, plus people are starting to target Ready Fusion and its accompanying fusion monsters a little bit more. We'll take a look at that and more in today's Ion Market. Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome into Ion Market. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the craziness that happened over the weekend. Obviously, if you haven't heard about it by now, there was an insect deck, Beetrooper / Battle Wasp / generic insect support that did top the Yu-Gi-Oh! Extravaganza. I'm super happy about that because it's actually a deck I'm building or working on building IRL. I'm not a huge fan of the Battle Wasp engine that the person who top played, but they topped, so clearly they know what they're doing. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach, but I'm not quite ready to actually post that deck profile yet. But we're going to take a look at that because there's been a lot of prices impacted by it, and it's as good a time as any to announce that we're going to be doing a giveaway for this Ion Market. I'm actually going to be giving away the 3 cards you're going to see on the screen in just a moment, so this should help you at least get started with your Beetrooper decks. We've got Giant Beetrooper, Invincible Atlas, we've got Beetroot Stinglancer, and we've got Beetrooper Formation. So one of each of these I'm going to give away to a random winner. All you have to do is comment on this video with the code that is going to be given at some point during the video. So if you hang out and watch through the video, I will put the code on the screen, and when I put the code on the screen, all you have to do is comment it down below and I'll pick someone at random. So those of you who are going to actually kind of stick through and watch will be able to have that upper hand, because I feel like some people are just going to skip through, and that's fine, but that's not how the giveaway is going to work. So let's take a look first. Rare fish. I just wanted to point this out. The near mint rare fish for English copies are very, very pricey. $12 at the cheapest. There are some foreign copies a lot cheaper if you don't mind that, and honestly, considering you're not really ever like using this for its effect, I guess it's really not that big of a deal to use foreign copies. I have foreign copies myself, but this is probably one of the best Ready Fusion targets because it does work to make Bahamut Shark and Toad in, you know, whether you're playing water variants or what have you. So definitely something to keep an eye on. You can get them cheap, like I said, if you're okay with the foreign copies, and I would honestly say, like, if you don't care, just go for it and grab them, because, you know, spending $4 versus spending $12 is quite the difference, but some people are going to want original, so Rare Fish is up, as I think Ready Fusion is just kind of getting, you know, people are really starting to go after it, which, you know, doesn't surprise me because it's been in the best-selling category, but it's still $25. There's just a noticeable difference in terms of listings versus the other secret rares in the set, and I think overall this card will do well over time because it's just a really, really good card in general. But Rare Fish, Ready Fusion, I would say have your playset of Ready Fusions, and definitely if you're playing Water, have your Rare Fishes. But speaking of insects, where we're going to start off today for the sort of recap of the weekend's events, Beetroopers were in that deck, which is not surprising. Invincible Atlas is a really good boss monster. Reminds me of like an Apocalyphort Towers, but not quite as powerful. He does have a few other kind of niche things that work in terms of being able to pull monsters from the deck and boost his own attack, but he's been selling a ton to the point where there's only 54 listings left, around 250-ish, and again, you can win one in this video. In a little while, we'll give out the code, and you guys have a chance to win your own copy, so if you want to get started on Beetroopers, I have a decent amount of these, and I think he's really good for just like long-term viability as Beetroopers continue to get more support. I think he'll be a decent, maybe $5 card, depending on where he ends up. Beetrooper Scout Buggy, no surprise here. This is the secret rare. We've talked about it before. I think it's a really good card, and I think the better Beetroopers get, the better insects get in general, this card is going to be really good to have. It's 42 listings, about $17 to $18 a copy. I do think that this has potential to continue to go up depending on future support, which I know is a big caveat, but that's sort of where I'm at with this. If you don't have them and you're interested in playing the deck, I do think you might want to grab them sooner than later, because it's not going to go much cheaper than this likely, and you're basically paying the few extra dollars to have them now, but it really remains to be seen how it'll actually do. Beetroot Stinglancer, I really like this. I don't believe this was played at all in the main deck that's top, which is strange to me because of its, you know, disruptive ability plus its search power. It's around $5, give or take. 68 listings. Again, you can win one of your own. This will be one of the 3 cards given away in this video, and I actually think it's a really good card. So I would say probably try to, you know, have a play set. I don't know whether or not we're going to see it go up too much, but it does feel like one of the stronger cards that is, you know, a little reliant on the opponent because they have to have a monster in the grave. But going second or anytime later than the first, a couple of turns, this card can be really powerful. Goku Pull, I've always thought this card was neat from Soul Fusion. If it's sent to the grave at all, you can search an insect monster, so it's definitely neat. And of course, if you add a normal monster, he can do some popping, but not a bad card at all. I don't personally play a lot of the level 4s in my variant, but you know, it's one of those things where you, again, have to pick and choose what works for you. He's not super low in quantities, but he's not super high in quantities either for a rare. I don't know. If you have them in bulk, maybe pull some out, but it's definitely a card to keep an eye on with the insect support getting all that hype right now. Retaliating C, this was actually as high as like $10 last night. It looks like it's settled more reasonably down to about 4 and change. This has been a good hand trap even before insects, and it goes in and out of formats. I do think it's actually a really good option right now. It counters Drytron to an extent by being able to chain to Meteonis. It counters, you know, Invocation, Chidal Fusion, different things in all across the different decks that are reliant on the graveyard. You can definitely use this as a solid counter, and it has that added bonus of being able to search an Earth Insect within its own deck, so you can get your Contact C or something else. Definitely not a bad option. I just don't know that I would pay too much for them. I found some in bulk, relatively cheap, actually, like less than a quarter. So maybe look around, and if your local shop has bulk, you go through, or you have bulk, go through, see if you can find them, because I do think it's a good card. It has 3 prints, including a super rare print in a OTS 4, so that's always going to be the maximum rarity, if you will. No pictures for whatever reason, but it's got 3 copies. You shouldn't have a hard time getting this if you're able to just shop around a little bit. Battle Wasp, Pin the Bullseye, level 1 insect, special summon itself from the hand if you control an insect monster. Good for link plays. 34 listings, really low quantities on this guy. He's around $1, and there are some people with a big number of them, so if you're interested in the insect deck, you might want to grab these sooner than later. Not a bad card at all. I have some. I'm again not playing it because I'm focusing on the level 3s for the most part, but it definitely is something that warrants consideration. Interestingly, Resonant Insect, which is a card we actually talked about a while back, $6.50 at the cheapest. It is Duelist Alliance, and it is very low in quantities with 29 listings. The thing about this one that's super interesting to note is the fact that it does not have any other prints. It did not get put in the Megatin. It doesn't have any of that, so it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just not accessible, and I don't know if it's on the radar for reprint anytime soon, so that's, you know, one of the factors that you kind of have to take into consideration when determining whether or not you want this card. Quagga Hercules, real quick to touch on this, the price is disgusting. It's $3.50 for Near Mint Unlim Super, and the rare from Tournament Pack 3 is not much better at $6.94 lowest listing. Obviously, this is not going to be more than the super rare, but the light plays were selling around $75, and it's a ready fusion target, so that's why it is so demand. I hope Konami takes note of that and either reprints this in an OTS or maybe Gold Series, because this card should not be that expensive, and it's the only ready fusion targets that insects have. Live Twin Sunny Snitch, quick super rare from Dawn of Majesty. They're selling around $2. Just note that Live Twins get a lot of support in the next set and will probably be a viable rogue contender at the very least. And this super rare is, you know, not the easiest thing to get when you consider how many supers are in the set and the new ratios, you know, from Eternity Code on. So maybe for $1 and change, or, you know, closer to what ends up being $2, trying to find somebody with multiple copies, you could pick these up now if you're interested in playing it, because it's basically a tanky for the deck, and it's definitely good. Artemis, the Magician's Moon Maiden, is really starting to rise little by little with only 43 listings. $17 cheapest, and then there's one here for $16. I just completely missed somehow. I have a couple of these because I'm actually playing Magistus as a deck, but this is really good for Invoked, and in general, I just think this card will age well over time, especially with new Magistus support coming out. Genesis Impact continuing to look solid as a set. Speaking of new support coming out, we do have a bunch of Despia stuff and whatnot coming out in the upcoming Burst of Destiny set. Gath is a neat card that does have potential. I don't know whether or not it will be used, but it might be worth grabbing as an ultra rare that is, you know, not really pricey at all. You could do worse than just having them just in case. Firewall Dragon Ultimate Rare, $33 feels very low. I know the card's not great anymore, but given its history in Yu-Gi-Oh! And what it was to Vrains in the anime and everything, I do think this card will be something people chase after for legacy formats and other things like that. So for OTS Ultis to spend $30 on it, give or take, is really not that bad. If you're interested in playing that market a little bit, I thought this was a good one to note. Fusion Deployment, another really good card that I don't think sees like a ton of play right now, but it's still really good, and it's almost like the Synchro Overtake for fusions. It's around $13 and 21 listings, so it's definitely continuing to sell quite a bit. I really hope this is in the Megatins. It doesn't, you know, it feels like it should be, but, you know, as we know, they do miss stuff, and this may just be people trying to big brain it and see if they can get ahead of it. High Ritual Art from Dawn of Majesty, another card that's pretty inexpensive at $1.35. but it can ritual summon any ritual monster directly from your deck if you tribute normal monsters to do it. This is a really neat concept, and I think people will want to eventually experiment with this, especially because you can literally grab any ritual monster from the deck. It does get shuffled back in during your opponent's next end phase, but that doesn't really matter if you can combo off with it. Virtual World QB, I've been talking about this one for a bit. It continues to do well. It's up to $10 now with low listings. This card is one I've said is just a really solid option. I think it will be reprinted, but if it is not, then it's definitely going to go up a lot more. It's a macrocosmos for the board that also has interactions within its own deck, so this is just a really, really good card. And I would definitely recommend, if you want the highest rarity, grabbing one under 10 is not the worst thing you can do. Amazing Time Ticket, I just want to point out, this is only $7. We don't know if there's going to be future amazing support. People really like that deck. Just something to note, if you have interest in playing Amazement at all, this is easily going to be the lowest price for this for a while, and it could spike if they do get more support announced. So, not a bad bottom out time to grab that. Needle Fiber, $80-something still feels very low for the OTS on this, which is strange to say, but considering that the Ultra is like $35, you're paying a little bit, $35-ish more to grab it in Ulti. I don't know. I don't know if people are scared of it getting banned or what, but I don't think it's going to, and it does seem like you could, if you are interested in higher rarity, you could grab this and do a solid job of upgrading your deck without having to spend too much. And I think as long as it doesn't get banned, it's going to have that long-term viability. Doppler Warrior, $15, super rare because of the synchro hype, very low quantities, but it's also Legendary Collection 5Ds. There are other printings of it as well, so you can get it super cheap. But if you want it foil, that's what you're paying. Aztekipede, the Worm Warrior, very good card. He's like $13, give or take, from Battle Pack 3. Might actually be worth cracking some Battle Pack 3 if they're still super cheap. Who knows? People are going after that stuff. He is really good in terms of being an extender, but he's a level 4, so he does play a little bit different than the strategy that I'm playing, but people are going a little more link heavy, so food for thought on that. And then last today, Kumongous, the Sticky String Kaiju, and Insect, so it's really good for Beetrooper in general. Plus it's just a Kaiju, but 6 listings, $13 is the cheapest. Definitely think you're going to want to grab, some form of these Kaijus, but even then his other prints are not that much cheaper, so that's going to be food for thought there. So for those of you who stuck around through the video, I'm going to go ahead and drop the code right now. The code is just going to be BEES, that's BEES. If you drop BEES down in the comment section below, you'll automatically be entered in the giveaway, which will be announced on the next Market Watch, which will be a week from today, and you will win the 3 cards that were shown earlier in the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like if you enjoyed and comment for more, and I'll see you next time.